There was a time, not so long ago, when childhood unfolded quietly before the screens, before the schedules, before anyone was really watching. In the 1960s, being a kid meant vanishing for hours with nothing but a sandwich and imagination. There were no digital trails, no instant check-ins, just the sound of your name echoing down the street at tea time. It was a different kind of freedom, subtle, slow, and unrecorded, yet it shaped us more than we ever knew. Because sometimes it's the little things we barely noticed that left the deepest mark. In the early 1960s, Britain was still catching its breath after the war. Streets were quieter, high streets were smaller, and everything seemed just a little slower. New housing estates were springing up on the edges of towns, built from brick and hope, often with little gardens where children could dig for treasure or race tin can cars. Families had less, but somehow made more of it. A single toy might last years. Hand-me-downs were normal, not shameful. And while money was tight, there was a richness in routine Sunday roasts, trips to the park, and family telly nights huddled around a flickering black-and-white set. Most homes had just one phone, if that, and children lived largely outdoors, immersed in their own world of play, imagination, and discovery. You made your own fun, and you knew your neighbors, not just their names, but their habits, their quirks, their front door knock. It was a time before childhood was scheduled and supervised, when you learned as much from a scraped knee or a missed bus as you did in a classroom. This was the backdrop to the little things, the 15 simple, powerful experiences that shaped a generation. You probably remember the feeling, the freedom of stepping outside after breakfast and not returning until you heard your name being called from the doorstep. Let us take a gentle walk through 15 everyday things from 1960s childhood that quietly shaped who we became. 1. Playing out until the light faded. There were no mobile phones, no tracking apps, just trust. You left the house in the morning, maybe with a jam sandwich in your pocket, and came back when the sky turned orange. The street became your kingdom to the school milk crate ritual. Every morning, crates of tiny glass milk bottles lined the corridor. Some warm, some cold, and that unmistakable taste. It wasn't about liking it. It was about the shared moment, the quiet ceremony before lessons began. 3. Corner shops, and a few pennies you'd walk in clutching a coin, maybe a threepence, and leave with a paper bag full of childhood novelty sweets. Licorice whirls, flying saucers, or a sherbet dab. The shopkeeper knew your name, and your mum's too. For simple toys with endless life, a hula hoop, a skipping rope, a yo-yo, that was all it took. No batteries, no instructions, just repetition, invention, and the thrill of getting it right after hours of trying. 5. Television as a family event with just a handful of channels. Teletime was precious. You all sat together, maybe watching Blue Peter or the 6 o'clock news. And when something dramatic happened, the whole street talked about it the next day. 6. The smell of school dinners. Love them or loathe them. School dinners were a shared rite of passage. Lumpy mash, sponge, and pink custard, and the unmistakable smell of boiled cabbage wafting through the halls. 7. Handwritten letters and notes. Before texts or emails, if you wanted to say something after school, you wrote it down. Notes were passed under desks, letters were slipped through letterboxes, and every word felt more deliberate. 8. The feel of the card being stamped, the musty smell of old pages, and the sense that you could go anywhere just by turning a page. 9. Games that needed nothing at all. You'd mark out hopscotch with chalk or make a goalpost from jumpers. Games like What's the Time, Mr. Wolf, or British Bulldog taught you strategy, bravery, and how to run very fast. 10. Helping with the big shop. Shopping was an event, not a clique. You helped carry bags, counted out coins, maybe got a treat for behaving. It was where you learned the price of things and the value of patience. 11. Sharing a bedroom. Privacy was rare. You might have shared a bunk bed with a sibling, whispered secrets at night, argued over space, and learned how to live alongside someone else. 12. The annual family holiday. A week at the seaside, rain or shine, buckets, spades, knotted hankies, and sandy sandwiches. Those modest holidays created some of our richest memories. 13. Postcards and phone boxes you didn't call often, and when you did, it was special. Long distance meant choosing your words carefully. And when away, you always sent a postcard, a few scribbled lines that meant the world. 14. The freedom of walking to school. Even the youngest had a sense of independence. You'd walk with friends or a sibling, wave to neighbors, and maybe dawdle if you could get away with it. It was your first taste of the world. 15. The sound of the ice cream van. Not just a treat, an event. That cheerful jingle turned a quiet street into a stampede. You'd race out with coins in hand, hoping to catch it in time. These were small things, ordinary things, but they taught us everything, from resilience to resourcefulness, from imagination to independence. And they've stayed with us quietly ever since. At the time, it just felt normal. The walks to school, the long games in the street, the quiet hum of the telly in the evening. But looking back, those simple moments taught us so much more than we knew. We learned how to wait, how to share, how to get up when we fell without anyone rushing to fix it for us. We found our place among friends, neighbors, and family, not through big gestures, but through small, everyday acts of belonging. There was no talk of building resilience or confidence, yet that's exactly what happened, naturally, quietly, and often unnoticed. The world didn't revolve around us, but it welcomed us in, gave us space to grow. Those lessons tucked away in chalk-stained knees and handwritten library cards shaped the way we work, care, and cope, even now. And it all began with the little things we barely noticed. It's easy to wonder, could that kind of childhood still exist today? With screens in every pocket and calendars filled to the brim, it feels a world away. But maybe it's not about going back. Maybe it's about remembering what mattered, the freedom, the trust, the togetherness. Those quiet lessons we learned in the 60s shaped us more than we knew. And even now, they remind us of who we are and what we still carry with us.